So today is the 7th of September. Wow, time flies. Yesterday was supposed to be my first chemo. I went to Charlotte Makeke Government Hospital, and it was an absolute nightmare. I couldn't stop crying. It was just emotionally, it was exhausting. I think this whole build-up, just came to a complete pinnacle. Like I was finished. I think when one is like we all know, when you go through something traumatic, or you're afraid and you're nervous and anxious and uncertainty, this perpetual state of uncertainty, you tend to not realize how much trauma you are actually experiencing, because we always try to put on a brave face. We don't want to be a liability to other people. I think that's my biggest thing. I don't know about you, but I don't want to make other people uncomfortable with my situation or my experience. I want people to just, I've heard people speak before. I've heard people go, oh, not again, or oh, this person, or, and it becomes like you're more of a, it's more work to be around you than it is to just enjoy. And people tend to run away from those situations or those people. They don't want to be around it. They don't want to be around sadness and stress, and especially because we're all dealing with our own stuff all the time. So anyway, I've always listened to this, and it is stuck in my subconscious, since the first time I've heard it. And I think it's the same thing when some guys speak about a woman, and they go, oh, this woman, my girlfriend is like this, or the other. And then I go, dear God, I don't want to be that person that they speak about. So, that's the train of thought. So anyway, so I went to the hospital yesterday. I went alone. I thought I'd be fine. I've done this before, strong, and I can do it. And I got there. The building, first of all, is very intimidating. It is an academic, I think it's a research hospital. I haven't really done my research on it yet, because I don't know. I think the lack of interest in that part of it is really just me now. But I arrived. There's the first thing I experienced was the fact that there's not a lot of clear indication of where you're supposed to go. I received a couple of calls, I think 2 before, but I wrote the number down of where I was. The telephone call went like this: hi, is this Chantal Oosthuizen? And I would say yes, and then would go, you have to be at Charlotte Makeke on the 6th of September, room 495, 7 o'clock, bring your proof of address and your ID book. That's it. Be there at 7 o'clock. That's the conversation that you get. You don't get people saying to you, anyone saying, okay, please, I'll send you the directions, or I'll email you some information of where you're supposed to be going. Instead, that's the conversation that you have. That is the information that you get sent, and that's what you need to work with. So anyway, I get there. I get to the wrong place. The guy says, no, I have to go all the way back and turn to the left at the stop, and then go down, and then I'll find parking. Again, you drive down and there's no parking, and you drive, and eventually you feel like you've passed the hospital. And then there's this big, massive structure, part of the building, obviously, but it's a parking structure. And then you go into the one, and there's nothing functioning, nothing technical, the booms aren't working. It's people picking them up because they're broken, not because they're hand propelled. And then they just kind of look at you like, oh, another person to, ask me a question. And you're polite because first of all, you don't want to upset anyone in the government service, because they are perpetually pissed off all the time. And the funny thing is, they're probably part of the community that gets serviced by the government sector as well, so they get serviced by their own kind, but they are so upset, so angry, and so just rude all the time. So you would think that they would be, I don't know, that's again my thought. So you arrive there, and you get to the gate, and then she goes, that gate, you see there, visitor, you see there, staff, go by the staff. And you go, okay, I'll just find it. And then you have to make a U-turn, you go out, and they're like, thank you, and they don't even say it's a pleasure. just get out of here. Like the rudest population I've ever met in my life. Go out, get into this parking bay. Again, the booms aren't operational. The windows of the booth is like broken. The whole thing is like dilapidated. It's hanging like barely there. But someone's in there and they're like just sitting there because, you know, I'm getting a salary. So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? And then the guy gives you a ticket. But it looks like he's taken a piece of cardboard, ripped it up and just giving it to you. Almost you think it's just proof that I've been through the gate. And obviously not taking note of it any further, chuck it in my bag and look for parking. So I say to him, I've never been here before. I need to go to the oncology side, room 4, whatever. Then he goes, you see that orange wall? You must go there and press P4. And I'm looking for an orange wall. Okay, I said, okay, cool, no problem. And you go in. And as you go in, they keep their friends parking. So security obviously are standing in little groups and they're having fat conversations because this is what we do on duty. And they don't bother with you. They do have milk cartons that are filled with water at certain parking areas for obviously people that are paying them to keep parkings for them so that they're close to the elevators and things. Doesn't matter, I don't care. I don't mind walking in. Walking is very healthy for you. So I end up parking on the other side and I make my way towards the orange wall. When you approach this orange wall, it is like, I don't know if you recall when turn gates used to actually work and you would press the gate and someone would press something and you would go through. So these structures are still standing there, but the gates have been taken off. The systems are still operational. The lights are on. It says, please put your ticket or swipe your card. These are still there. But the rest, there's no gates. So I don't even know why they're there. But then there's like a sign that says, please pay your ticket at the pay point. Where's the pay point? Anyway. And then you get to this elevator and the buttons of the, you know, you get the glass thingy or the steel thingy where you press and then the elevator comes up or down and opens. Those things have been taken out and it's just the button, that's the raw button, that's hanging on a piece of wire. And when you press it, it moves all the way around in this box. And you just hope and pray that you don't get electrocuted while trying to get the elevator to come to your floor. So anyway, I was standing there and a nurse arrives and another lady arrives and we greet each other. And I said, I'm sorry, I've never been here before. Do you know if this is where I need to go to get to the oncology department? And then the nurse was polite and she goes, come with me, I'll show you. So we get into this elevator when it eventually arrived and there were cans in the elevator. It stank. It stank like urine. It smelled like sweat. It was just toilet paper, dirty used papers, toilet paper everywhere. And you just kind of don't want to touch anything or lean up against anything because you honestly don't know if you'll get anything transferable. It's disgusting. It is the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And immediately, I mean, I'm nervous. I'm afraid. I don't know what I'm actually doing. So we get to that floor and she goes, no, you have to go up one floor. So I'm like, okay. She says, follow me. I go in there to go to duty. I'm like, okay, cool. So we get up at the next floor into another parking bay area and she says, that's where you need to go. And I'm like, okay. And I go through, but the numbers don't correspond. So I go in, but there's no one. Although the whole waiting area is full of people. People are sleeping on the plastic chairs. There's like people sitting and sleeping. People are somewhere lying down, 4 chairs in a row. Some people are just sitting in a corner, very frail, very tired. You can see they've just really been there for a long time. In the background, there's a TV with SABC shit programs playing and people are just sitting. But there's no staff. There's no cleaning staff. There's just no one. So eventually there are 2 ladies sitting and I go to them and I said, listen, I've never been here before. I'm supposed to start chemo but I don't even know who I'm seeing, you know. It's like, I don't know where to go. And they said, no, you must wait for the staff. So I sat and I wait. While I'm sitting there, on my right, there's a gentleman who's literally sitting and sleeping and snoring. He's probably exhausted from not only getting up so early to be there, but also like, you know, they all get treatment of some sort, so it makes you tired. And there's a smell. It smells like rotten flesh. It smells like, it's a combination of rotten flesh, sweat and, I don't know, feet that's just hangs in the air. And I'm constant, everyone is like, the ladies that help me is like pulling their jerseys over their mouths and their noses. And I think everyone just thinks, dear God, can we just survive this place? If nothing else, you come to a place where you come to find safety and recovery and healing, and it smells like death. Horrendous. So I sat there and I just filled in my book. So I'm rewriting again. And eventually a nurse came in. So I went to her and I said to her, I need to be here today. And she goes, no, it's the wrong day. You needed to be here tomorrow. And I'm thinking, seriously? And she said, go sit and wait for the other one to come. So I went and I sat down again. And all the time, I just want to cry. I don't know what to do. And then the loneliness really sets in, that just having someone that's just there, and then I'm fine. I mean, I don't need backup most of the time. I don't, but I really needed backup yesterday. And everyone's got their lives. I couldn't uproot anyone. I don't want to uproot anyone. So eventually another person comes in and I just make my way there. And I'm like, please, can you help me? I don't know. Am I supposed to be here? Do you know where I'm supposed to go? And she goes, no, you're in the wrong place. You should go to the green block on the other side of the parking area. Go up to 9 and then go to 459 or 495, whatever. That's where you're supposed to be. And I'm like, are you serious? She goes, yes, you're in the wrong place. So I go up the parking area again, and that was it. It's like the cigarette butts are lying everywhere. There's papers and cans. It feels like you're walking in the movies where there's been some kind of thing happen, like zombies or the end of the world, and people hid under the ground and they come out and like everything's like broken and it's half, and it's not. It looks like a war or something happened. And that's how the parking areas looked. And then you get to the lift and people killed their cigarettes on the doors itself, and then you press the button and nothing comes down and everything smells like urine. And the training doctors approach this side, but they try not to make eye contact because you might want something from them, so they just kind of like dodge you. And I'm standing there and I'm crying and I'm thinking, where am I going? I don't know. There's no real help. There's not a friendly face in sight. Not one person smiling. It looks like we've all been put there to come to slaughter and we're just waiting to go. So eventually, again, this elevator comes down. I get in. So this time it looks a little bit better. It's a bit cleaner, and we start going up. And as we start going up, we start loading in people. People get in the lift. They just like walk into each other. They don't even care that they're not making. It's uncivilized. It's barbaric. Get to the 9th floor and there's nothing. There's no one standing or being in the area where you can say, okay, right, my name is Chantal. I need to come for treatment, or I need to see a doctor, or whatever. I've been sent here by this one and this one. There's none of that. So you just kind of like look around, and then eventually you see people and you gravitate towards it. And as I approach this area, it's a cage door, like a jail door, like steel, and it's got a lock on. And behind this door is like hordes of people sitting, some lying down, some looking like they're dying right there, talking, laughing, screaming, because obviously no one can be civilized and just silent and respect of the other persons in the room. And then you turn left and there's a receptionist sitting there. The doctors are talking, people are talking, and you walk in and you go, I can't stand in front of this guy. And he just doesn't see me. And I'm standing and I'm standing and I'm standing and I'm standing. And eventually I just reached over and I said, excuse me, I need to be here today. And this is why I'm here. And he goes, go that side. And he just flips to the back. And there's two ladies, two nurses, having a screaming match with the patient. Because the patient is telling them that they are being very rude and extremely inconsiderate of the people around them and the level of service and care that they give. And they are telling this patient, but basically she's talking shit and that they work long hours. And I'm thinking, you do not have to be here, but you are here by choice because you need money to feed your kids, right? So have respect for the ill and do your fucking job or get out of here. There are a lot of people that need jobs. So anyway, but now, still in tears, can't speak a word. I get to this rude African woman and she just sits there and she looks up at me like this and she goes, what is your name? And I can't speak, and I take out my ID book and I give it to her and I open it up and I'm shaking and I'm like giving it to her and she goes, which hospital are you from? And I said, Dr. Creel sent me here, my doctor, Dr. Ben. Which hospital? She says to me. I said to her, Helen Joseph. And I'm like, how can you speak to anyone like that? And I just stood there and it actually just sank in that this is where I am. This is where I am. I sat there from 6:30 until 1 o'clock yesterday. I did bloods, they did my weight. I sat in a queue for such a long time, and people painting their toenails on the chairs and sitting with their feet on the walls and eating and like coughing, and it's really, I don't know what the word is for it. I don't think anyone would believe me if I told them the story if they were in Europe or in America and they've never been here before. I don't think anyone would understand the level of inhumanity, uncivilization, savagery. I actually don't believe that I don't think anyone would believe me. It's rough. It's rough here in South Africa. We all try and pretend that, we're moving with the times and we're doing it all and we're rah, kumbaya. Hey guys, I hate to say it, but it's crumbling. And when you go into a government institution, it could be Home Affairs, it could be the traffic department. Level service, there is none. There's none. People they don't even hide the fact that you are causing them effort. They don't even hide the fact that they don't want to be there. They are rude, inconsiderate, they are blatantly disgusting. I don't know where, it's not going to end here though. So anyway, back to my story before I rant some more. So then eventually 1 o'clock appears and I've just been sitting and writing and reading and praying, and because I really do a lot of praying. I don't think I would have made yesterday if I didn't have the conversation of God. I promise I didn't. I don't think so. Sure, it's good, eh? So good. And again, we are so small and we are so vulnerable. But we are such selfish creatures, and we've got no consideration for life, no respect for life or one another. We have no respect for God and what He has created and what He has given us. We just loot and plunder and destroy and break and murder. We shouldn't be here anymore. We don't belong. We don't deserve what we have. We shouldn't be complaining at all. Oh, it's so tough. Yeah, it's tough. You guys, this is what we've done. So anyway, 1 o'clock appears and I hear my name being called, and I thought, yes, finally it can happen now. Let's start this. And a doctor calls me to the front and says, oh, I'm sorry, your doctor isn't here. He's been off for the week. He'll be back next week. Sorry, we didn't realize that it was you this morning. Otherwise, you wouldn't have needed to sit here all day. We could have just told you that you wouldn't be having anything today because your case is so urgent, and there's only one doctor that is supposed to see you. And I thought, let me just kill this quickly, guys. Sorry about that. and